Back with Senator Angus King. He's the Maine independent who serves on both the Intelligence and Armed Services committees. Senator, in taking responsibility, ISIS warned, in their words, of bigger and more bitter terror attacks. Do you have any information on active plots that may be in the works right now?
No information on active plots, but I don't think there's any doubt that they would very much like to try to have those kind of effects here in the country. And they're, you know, the distinction we were talking about before, did they order this attack? And I think they did in a general kind of way, but not in a specific way of contacting this fellow in Phoenix. But they're going to continue to try to do this, and we've got to try to keep one step ahead of them with our intelligence assets, with our law enforcement assets. But you know, we can't have a circle of police around every public space in America. There are not that many police, and that's not the country we want to live in. So we've got to try to counteract this in all moving on all fronts. But a key element is intelligence, and interestingly, a key element is successful, careful monitoring of social media. These guys advertise what they're going to do on Twitter, so that's something that this is a whole new world where we've got to have the FBI and our intelligence agencies monitoring social media.
You got to do a lot. That's a tough job, though, because there's a lot of stuff going out there on social media. You don't know what's real, what's fake, or what's serious, and what's a real threat. Some people are suggesting these two guys, they were pretty inept. They showed up with assault rifles, but one off-duty traffic cop with a handgun killed both of them before they could really do any damage. What does that say?
Well, I think what it says is that we were lucky. We had some good. We had good warning from the intelligence from the FBI, but we also had good policing on the local level. But what if they'd been more competent? What if they'd been better armed? What if they'd been better prepared? This could have been a real tragedy, Wolf. And I think this time we were fortunate in the way it turned out. But you know, we're just going to have to continue to do everything we can to deal with and prevent these kinds of things. But understand that living in a free country, there are going to be risks.
I know you believe in free speech, the First Amendment, like all of us, but here's the question. Should this event depicting the Prophet Muhammad in cartoons, which is offensive to a lot of Muslims, should it have taken place in the first place?
Look, if you can't tolerate offensive speech, then the First Amendment doesn't mean anything. And, you know, there is never a justification for violence against somebody in this country who's expressing their opinion, no matter how obnoxious it is to me or to someone else. Now, what the problem is, though, we have to understand that our reverence for the First Amendment doesn't extend across the globe, and that there are people who absolutely, there are laws against blasphemy and all those kinds of things in these other countries. So, you know, that's where it gets complicated. But absolutely, we have the right of free speech in this country, and that goes for words that we don't like. So no justification for this, no matter how provocative this event was. But I do think it's important, Wolf, that these were two, you know, I don't know what their mental state was, but clearly they weren't very well balanced. But not to say, okay, well, all Muslims in America, we've got to watch and surveil and everything else. To attribute these actions to millions of law-abiding, patriotic Americans, I think would be a tragic outcome from this event. We've really got to be careful about that.
That's absolutely true. Senator King, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf. Good to be with you.
Angus King of Maine.